or your square, if you could just give me your full name and who you're representing here today, whether you're a member of the applicant team or the school or a neighboring property owner or someone else. So I'll start here with Mark Priest.
Yes, I'm here. I'm with Springer School. I'm Vice President of Finance and Operations.
Okay, great. Welcome.
Thank you.
I have two gentlemen under Fast Signs Mason.
Yes. John Bloom.
Roman Kane.
Okay. You say Roman Kane?
Yep.
Is it K or C?
CAIN.
Got it. All right. Great. Welcome. And Luke Perry.
Yep, Luke Perry, Vice President, Perry Contracting.
Okay. Someone else joining here. Kristen Keisman.
Yes, sorry. It's Kirsten Eisman, Eismin, and I'm with Springer School and Center.
Okay, great. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we have Kate Meehan here as well from the City Planning Department. Hi, Kate.
Hello, good afternoon.
And then finally we have Brett Marcoux. If Brett, we're just getting everyone checked in. If you could unmute, just confirm that is your name and tell me who you're representing here today or where you're from.
Thank you. Yes, Brett Marcoux. I'm the president at Springer School and Center.
Okay, great. All right, welcome. On the school and applicant side, are we expecting anyone else to join us here before we get started? Okay,
No,
let's go.
this is it.
Great. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So I need to read through our hearing script. This will just cover the procedure for the hearing and then we'll begin. So this is the December 18th, 2024 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. My name is David Sturkey. Again, I'm the zoning hearing examiner for the city. I'll be presiding over the hearing. The case before us today is case number ZH20240149. That's 2121 Madison Road. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any other parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any other party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing, unless there was a electronic writing or submission prior to this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. So for our purposes here today, anyone who is a part of the school team or the sign company or anyone else that's a part of this project, which appears to be everyone except Ms. Meehan, I'll give you all an opportunity to tell me about this case. Background you think is important, what exactly the project is, the scope, the relief that you're requesting, and then of course, why you think that relief is appropriate. I know there's a lot of you, one of you can speak, all of you can speak, however you want to orient the presentation is completely up to you. Pretty liberal in terms of how you all want to do that. So I'll leave that up to you all. Once that is finished, if there were anyone here from the public or anyone joins us from the public, I'll give them an opportunity to speak after you all presented the case. I'll then go to the planning department to allow Ms. Meehan to provide testimony in addition to her staff report. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, I will give the applicants an opportunity to respond to that testimony that was offered in opposition. Again, I'm not sure that we'll have anyone from the public join us in opposition, but I did receive a letter, and I hope you all did as well. I received a letter this morning from the Hyde Park Neighborhood Council. Have you all seen that or had a chance to review that letter? It's unfortunate, but I'll read that letter into the record. I think they had concern about the size of one of the signs or a couple of the signs. And so I'll give you a chance to hear that letter and then respond to it. And then after all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties with the Zoom technology, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those issues on the fly. If there's some defect that I can't fix, then I may continue or postpone the hearing. That'll be at my discretion. And that's it. The last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, the zoning code requires that I swear you in. So if that is you, or if you think you might, I'm going to go ahead and just swear all those people in collectively at this point. So if you could take yourself off of mute right now, I need everyone to raise their right hand and to answer out loud. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. All right. Who's going to be taking the lead here on the presentation for the applicant?
I will. Perry.
Okay, great. Mr. Perry, the floor is yours.
Okay. Do I need to share my screen, or do we need to get that report up on the screen here? Okay, can I just speak?
So again, it's completely up to you. If you think it'll be helpful for me to see some visuals and for you to share your screen, I encourage you to do that if you would like. But again, it's up to you how you want to do it.
Great. Let me go ahead and do that real quick. Go. Can everybody see the cover page of the zoning report now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So today we are asking for 2 variances for some site improvements around the Springer campus. And I'm just going to go straight to those, which are described in our request for relief letter. The 2 variances that we're looking for have to do with a fence height. So Springer School is attempting to improve site security of their campus, and that requires extending some existing fence lines and enclosing currently unprotected portions of the property perimeter that currently do not have fencing. The zoning rules for this area require a limit of 48 inches on any fencing, but 48 inches does not provide adequate security for a school. And we are requesting a variance of 2 feet to be able to install a 6-foot high fence around the perimeter of the school that is currently unprotected. The fence that we're installing is an ornamental fence, and it closely matches some other fencing on institutions in the immediate area, in the immediate vicinity. Notably, Summit School has a very similar wrought iron fence going across the front of their property on the street side and other spots within their property. And what we're trying to do is match that look and complement that look so that we blend in well with the rest of the neighborhood. The fence is pictured. Let me move this here real quick. The fence is pictured in our cut sheets, which are, sorry, bear with me. It's a large report. Here we go. One more. Here's the type of fence that we'll use. Just a simple picketed fence, decorative in style. And that is one of the variances. So to increase the height from 4 foot to 6 foot. Any questions in particular about that?
Yes. So the existing is 4 feet, correct?
No, the existing fence is 6 feet, and
Okay.
we are putting fence on unprotected portions of the property that currently do not have any separation from public roadways. So that itself is another concern, is keeping students in campus, on campus, and away from roadways.
Okay. Do you have a map that demonstrates exactly where it's going
Yes.
to go versus where it exists?
Yes, I do.
And I assume it will close the entire property.
It will close the property where security is a concern. The existing campus backs up to a wooded area where we will not be installing fence. but it's really on portions of the school that are easily accessible by anybody just walking off the sidewalk. So this is the Madison facing side right here of the school building. What we'll be doing is we'll be coming off the corner of the school, across the road, and then down the side of the road here to about this point, which is where a steep grade and some woods start to begin. So we'll be killing our fence line there. So it's really a deterrent to keep the honest people out. That's one portion off the Madison Road side that we'll be installing. The other is on Grandin Road. Across the other drive, we'll be doing something similar and just running our fence up the drive and around it, and then down to the corner of the property. Here's another drive. It's hard to see, but we'll be coming back up and crossing across that as well and killing it right here at a new column that we'll install. And then the rest of this property abuts a neighboring residential property, which is getting a nice big line of pine trees or something that'll be installed there for buffering, but that is part of another project. That is not part of our project. So we're trying to kind of complete the circle around the campus here without going, too far and putting fence where we don't need it.
Got it. Okay.
Shall I move on to variance number 2?
Sure.
Okay. The second variance is for signage. So currently, the school was approved for a 14 square foot sign that was approved as part of the building addition zoning hearing, and you can see that zoning number listed here. That sign that was approved as part of the building addition was a total of 14 square feet. We required 2 variances around signage. One is for number of signs. The current code limits a commercial property in a residential district to 1 sign at 24 square feet. And because the campus is so large and has multiple signs, we need more than 1 sign to accurately identify the campus and direct students and create a welcoming environment. That being said, our plan is to put a monument sign at the Madison entrance and a monument sign at the corner of Grandin and Madison. These signs will be brick monuments, and at Grandin and Madison, that sign will be pin-mounted letters. At the Madison entrance, it will be a cast aluminum plaque sign, double-sided there. And none of the signs will have any electronics or be lit. They are purely just letters or plaques on brick monuments. So if you do the math, what we end up with is a variance of square footage needed for 68.81 square feet. And that, I'm sorry, I forget the math we did, Kate, but Kate and I reviewed this math and we agreed that it was correct. So that is how we arrived at that. So 2 new monument signs with an increase in square footage and an exception for the number of signs allowed on campus. Now, these signs, I will also say, closely match in style the signs in place at Summit, which has cast bronze signs. So again, we're trying to blend in and complement the look of that school, which is literally directly across the street. Now is probably a good time to show you some photos of what that looks like over there. So this here is the current signage at Springer School, and it's just wood, a wood sign on wood posts. So we're really upgrading this and improving the look here. And to compare to some of the signs that Springer has, or sorry, that Summit has, I'm pretty sure I included some of those. Bear with me as I get back to that, please.
Sure.
Okay. This is worth looking at, though. This is the fence line that Summit currently has. As you can see, it's a very similar style fence that we'll be installing, so we'll closely match that. Here's the current Summit entrance. So this is very similar to what our plaque signs will look like right here. So we're trying to complement and blend with all of these requested variances here. What other questions
So-
or information?
Yeah. So are you saying that the size of the plaque will be the same as or consistent with Summit, or that the entire sign itself will be?
So the size of the Summit signs right now, I believe I listed that in my report. The signs of the Summit signs are 62 by 28 each. And there's 2 at that entrance that I showed you in the photo.
Mhm.
The sizes of the signs that we propose to install are indicated on our signage drawings. This is the pin mounted sign, single-sided, that goes at the corner of Madison and Grandin. So we've got 22.81 square feet on this side. And these are essentially the same monument with a different sign face. It's a 12 by 6 monument with the sign centered. And the monument structure essentially is the same for both of them. It's just a different sign face. This is the plaque that we would like to install at the Madison entrance. And this is a double-sided sign with the plaque just mounted to the monument. This, I think it says the square footage, 23 square feet, double-sided each side here. So that's a total of 46 then on that monument.
Got it. Okay.
And then that 46 plus the 22.81 of the pin mounted sign is how we get to 66.81 square feet.
Gotcha. Okay. And do we know the square feet of the Summit, or was that
Summit,
in a different?
well, no, I mean, I can tell you real quick. I'll just calculate it. So 62
that'd be great.
times 28. It's the Summit signs are 12 square feet a piece.
Okay.
So they have a total of 24 at that entrance, you could say.
Gotcha. Okay. And you're proposing?
I'm proposing, I guess at Madison here, this counts, as I understand it, zoning counts this as 46 because they're counting both sides. But I've heard different things. I've heard that a double-sided sign, you only count one face, and then I've heard it the other way. But Kate and I discussed, and she kind of told me this is where we're landing. So that's how the numbers work out.
Got it. Okay. I don't think I have any other questions at this point.
Okay, great. I will just mention that we did reach out to this person. If you did not see this, her name is Peg Wyatt. She's the owner of the apartment complex next door. And we did reach out to her and receive her verbal approval that she's okay with the fencing stuff. So for what that's worth, just thought I would present that.
Did she have any comments on the signage?
We did not broach the signage with her at that time.
Got it.
Unless I'm unaware of conversations that have occurred subsequently to this.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mr. Perry, in your presentation you wanted to present?
I don't think so. Kind of like to keep it simple, but certainly if there are any other questions, I'm happy to answer those, and I'm interested to hear the Hyde Park letter.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to share that or read that into the record now, but I also want to make sure that anyone else
Okay.
on the applicant side has an opportunity to weigh in here.
Sure.
Why don't I just go ahead and I'll share my screen so you all can read it. I'll read it into the record. And again, I apologize. I got this late. It appears I got it late last night. So, all right. Dear Mr. Sturkey, the zoning committee of the Hyde Park Neighborhood Council has reviewed the Springer School site plan, the fence and sign dimensions in the Cages.case file. We have no objection to a variance for height of the fence, the second ground sign, or the two-faced ground sign, but we think the sign face dimensions are too large. Page 13 of the application cites example signs at the adjacent Summit School currently. The adjacent Summit School currently has multiple signs on campus, including two cast bronze road-facing signs, sized 62 inches by 28 inches each. We think signs of this size are adequate and appropriate for Springer School as well. A photo of the Summit School signs are shown as photo 8 on page 23 of the application. Additionally, considering Hyde Park School, Withrow High School, Clark Montessori, and St. Mary's School, there are no other schools in Hyde Park with a sign face size requested by Springer School. We ask that a condition of approval, the size of the sign faces be reduced to similar Summit School sign size. The other school in Hyde Park. I'm sorry if I'm botching that, but that's
It's okay.
Sign faces be reduced to similar Summit School sign size. And I assume that means and the other schools in Hyde Park. Should you or anyone with the city have any questions, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll leave that up there for a minute if you guys want to read that on your own without me botching it. But generally, I'll just, I wanted to make sure that you all had a chance to see that. Again, I apologize. Sometimes some of this information comes in late, but would like to hear any response to that objection from the Hyde Park Neighborhood Council, if you have any.
Sure. I'll present something real quick here. So I'm gonna. Can I share my screen again? Can you get that control back? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you got it.
Great. Okay, so you guys should see the same document again here. So what I would like to show you is this sign that is in place currently, as well as the one on Madison, Grandin, as well as this sign. I believe that these existing signs are 23 square feet on a side. And I think maybe Roman or John can confirm that. But I believe that our intent when we were replacing these signs was to, first we were hoping to not find ourselves in a zoning hearing, but here we are. We were trying to match the square footage of all the existing signs that we were replacing to kind of sail through permits and everything, but that's not the way it worked out. So I guess what I'm presenting back to you in response to Hyde Park Council's comment is we already have signs in these locations that are 23 square feet a sign face. So we're not really, I would suggest that we're not really going above what was existing. The monument certainly is different, but the sign face square footage would be the same.
Fast Signs, do you want to weigh in on that? Can you confirm that the sign face areas are identical?
Correct. Speaking specifically, that existing graphic that says entrance at the bottom in the bushes, that's technically a two-sided piece of aluminum. So Luke is right. The square footage is correct, and it's two-sided, whereas the math that was just discussed for the monument that's going to be on Madison, that's technically going to be a brick wall that looks very nice and professional, like a campus. That's going to have two graphics technically on each side. So what Luke was mentioning, in my experience around the city, is you count the square footage of one side because you can only see one side at once. Again, in my experience, when a location needs to have a vantage point where it's a V shape and you can see both at once, that's when the square footage of both count. So I think our variance of asking for 60 some square feet is specifically because of how that Madison sign is being calculated. Also with Madison versus Summit, in my experience, when I drive up to a facility, I'm looking at the surrounding situation, the speed of the road, the angle of the road. On Summit, it's a 35-mile-an-hour zone, and I believe Madison is also. But the Madison entrance for Springer, which is going to be the main entrance, that is going to be the flow of traffic going clockwise. On Madison, they're at an angle. They're on a curve. So is it easy to read? The two things in signs are, can you see the sign or can you read the sign? So I think the size that we have proposed for Madison does not, it's not overbearing. It's not too big. I think it's the right size to make it still readable to help direct traffic.
And you cannot see it on this drawing so well, but John is correct. This road continues to, if you can still see my screen, continues to kind of curve off up that way. So you are kind of taking a curve when you're approaching the main entrance to Summit. You got to get over in the turn lane, and then you got to make your turn to get into the school. So I do agree that signage there is important so that people aren't caught by surprise and trying to dive into the turn lane.
Okay.
And
sure. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Anything else anyone else would like to say in regards to the Hyde Park letter, or anything else before I turn it over to the planning department?
I don't. Please.
Nice. Yeah.
I'll just add, we've been working on this a very long time, and we worked very hard to match the same signage size that we have in place. And we are excited about what's next for Springer, and these signs will help match the great work we're doing. So.
Okay.
Well said.
Thanks, Ms. Eisen. All right. I think I'll turn it over to Ms. Meehan. Ms. Meehan, anything you wanted to add to the conversation here?
I would just add that the discussion about the sign faces, we determined that although it is a double-sided sign there at Madison, it is two separate plaques. It's not a double-sided sign in the manner that, the exact same thing is printed on like one piece of aluminum on both sides. So we did determine that this is two sign faces on one sign because each sign face is its own separate plaque, which is why it is determined to be two sign faces instead of one double-sided. So in the kind of manner of, a double-sided sign, the exact same thing is printed on one specific sign, whether it's aluminum or whatever the case may be, wood. In this case, it is two separate plaques. So we determined that that is two separate sign faces.
Yep. Okay.
I remember that conversation. By the way, thank you for all your help with putting this together, Kate. I know that was a lot of back and forth there, but
Ms.
Sure,
Meehan,
you're welcome. I'm glad we could get it to this point.
yeah.
And I would just mention I did work quite a bit with Luke. Originally, they wanted to do much larger brick walls. We did not feel that that would be something we could approve for zoning. So they did reduce the size of those brick walls. That 6 by 12 is a compliant sign size. In this case, they form more of the backdrop for those sign faces. But the applicant, Luke, was very amenable to working, and Springer working with us to bring that more into what we felt would be a compliant size.
okay.
If I could just offer Ms. Meehan an appreciation for, as Luke said, your time and effort, because our hope was to make this amenable to the city and all of the surrounding properties. And so Luke has shared glowingly your help and support, because our hope was to get this through as you said, without a hearing. And here we are. And
Right.
we're here because I hope you feel like we've offered this through the lens of partnership and trying to make this work. So thank you for all the time you've dedicated to help us get to here.
Sure, you're welcome. And we certainly are also interested in having signage that we think is compliant, that's compatible with the neighborhood. And in this case, we do. The city does make a recommendation of approval for the signage and the fencing. I mean, we feel like it's compatible in the area. So, yes, that is our recommendation. But
Okay.
I appreciate the kind words. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kate, really quickly, the first in your staff report, the first piece of relief that's necessary. Could you expound upon that a little bit in terms of how exactly this is out of compliance or why this proposal is out of compliance?
So in the so this is in a single family zoning district. So in any SF or RM zoning districts, signage is very limited. You're permitted to have one 24 square foot sign. The signage that is on the back of the school on the new addition, that logo sign was approved as part of the hearing that Luke alluded to that happened in May of last year. So that essentially is the one sign that is permitted. Even though it's on the back of the building, it is the one sign that is allowed. So they need relief for these two additional signs. And even though the one on the back is less than the 24 square foot, because these are new signs, we look at each one individually, and they exceed that 24 square feet. The total is the 68.81 square feet. So anything over 24 basically requires a hearing, because we can only permit at the staff level the 24 square feet that is permitted in this particular zoning district. So they need relief for the two signs and the square footage of those signs. So it's two signs. The one is the double-sided sign that has two sign face. It does get a little bit confusing.
Right.
I mean, I can admit to being a little, somewhat confused initially myself, but it is two signs, but with a total of three sign faces. So the one double-sided and then the one single. So they need relief to have the two ground signs. Because they already have the wall sign on the back, and then they need relief for the size of the sign faces, which is the 68.81, because they already have their one sign that they are permitted to have.
Got it. Okay. And so with the identification sign piece, even though the building fronts Madison and there's entrances off Madison, they're not entitled to a separate identification sign out there because there's an identification sign facing the rear parking lot.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. All right. Thank you. That's helpful. I appreciate it. Okay. I'll turn it back over to anyone on the applicant side or school side here to make any comments in response to Ms. Meehan's or in response to my questions or in closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today.
I just want to add, oh, I'm so sorry, Luke.
I'll just say that the reason all these sign faces are coming in at 22.81, 23, whatever, is because we had worked with originally Trey and then Kate to, try to, as we said, get through this and stay within code and everything like that. So that was all done with forethought and that's all. So.
Sure. Thanks.
I just wanted to add that we sent out to all of our neighbors that received the zoning letter as well, the zoning hearing letter, and sent them pictures of the fence and of the signage we wanted to put in place, and just explained why we were doing that, and asked if they had any concerns to reach out to us. We also, welcome them to come to this as well. So just so you know, we also reached out to them.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anything else from anyone? Okay. All right. I think we'll leave it at that. I I'm inclined to approve the application. It does sound reasonable to me. I want to take a little bit closer look. I don't know if you could tell from some of my questions, but I want to be absolutely certain of exactly the size and the relief requested and some of the surrounding signage. And so I'm just going to, and also in light of the objection from the Hyde Park Neighborhood Council, I want to be absolutely certain that I have all the dimensions straight in my head. So like I said, it does sound reasonable to me. And I think its design and everything else is compatible with the neighborhood and with the existing campus. I worked on the signage and the relief from the last application. So I'm familiar with the property, but I just wanted to take a little bit more time before making a formal decision on this. I mentioned at the beginning that typically takes about 2 weeks. I think that I should be able to have an answer on approval prior to that, but the official decision that I need to issue, we're running up against a couple holidays here in the next 2 weeks. And so I'll get that out to you as soon as I can. I would expect that the formal written decision will come out early next year. Hopefully that week of New Year's Day. As soon as I finish that, I put it into a PDF and I email it to everybody who's in the hearing here today. So you all will have a copy of it really just moments after it's complete. Assuming that it is all approved, that's when Kate can approve the zoning on her end, and you all can take the next steps on everything else. Let's see, any questions about that or anything else?
I'll just offer that if there's anything you need to help you do your research or evaluation, like, hey, take a picture of this and send it to me, or measure this and send it to me, you can email me. I'm sure my email's all over that report. So
yeah,
to have my contact information, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. And yeah, I'll let you know if I need any additional information. Otherwise, hope you all have a great day. Good luck with the project. Happy holidays, and we're adjourned.
All right.
Goodbye,
Thank you
everyone.
very much. Appreciate it.